Well, we are back with one of my boys. Chad, it's been a while since you've been in here.
It's been a while. Yeah.
So those who don't know, this is, a brother from another mother, Mr. Chad Womack. And I'm glad that I've actually got you in here.
Yeah.
You and I can sit down and have a discussion. It's always good with your brother as well, but I'm honored to have you and go through some of the things and just catch up with you and find out how things have been, what you've been up to, what you've been doing.
Yeah.
What do you know? And as always, it's a super easy conversation with us. So, we'll kind of free flow this like we always do, but
yeah, man,
get me up to speed. How have you been? What you been up to?
Been on a little bit of a journey, Mike.
A little bit of a journey.
A little bit of a journey, yeah. And I appreciate you having me in here. We'll get into this, but whenever I reached out, what we're about to talk about is extremely important to me. Mm-hmm. I'm very passionate about it. I feel like that this is my purpose. So I appreciate you having me in the studio and able to talk about this openly. And I know I joke around a lot, but it has been a little bit of a journey. So I'm sure we're about to dive in.
Yeah, no, I love it. And one of the things that I think that both you and your brother do is openly share.
Absolutely.
And people are allowed and do learn from that. And I think that that's something that a lot of people overlook, that, people learn from other people. And if you're willing to share information, it's gonna help somebody,
Absolutely,
at the end of the day. So tell me about this journey.
Yeah.
Where you been?
I'll just get into it. So I just got out of a rehab treatment center. And I personally call it a rehab because frankly, I want it to hit. I want it to land and make me aware of where I've been, what put me there, how I got there, and the effects that it had on my family and my friends. So it was a 45-day inpatient stay. And what I checked in for is kratom. A lot of people haven't heard of it. And I'll let you ask all the questions in the world about it. And it's a legal substance. What I was taking is legal. You can find it in any gas station, and I'm about to give pause to it and let you ask the questions. But it landed me in rehab, and I take full accountability. I was the one who bought it. I was the one who ingested it. I was the one who let it get out of control. But this stuff snuck up on me, and it was an absolute monster, man. That's where I've been.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. And again, I had no clue, and when you told me about it, I had to look it up. I didn't even know what it was, and it goes back to the supplement in the beverage market. Unless you're alcoholic or unless you have alcohol or THC in something, you ain't regulated.
You're exactly right.
So what was this? What did it come in?
Yeah.
And again, I looked it up and was like, oh shit, I didn't even know that this existed.
Yeah, man, I'm happy to tell you. So kratom is actually a leaf. It's, from my understanding, it's from Southeast Asia. It's typically ingested in tea form, in low doses. Well, long story short, so there's a beverage called Feel Free.
Okay.
It's a little blue bottle, 2-ounce tonic. It is kava and kratom mixed together. Kava extract, kratom extract. So in low doses, this stuff is, it acts as an opioid. It gives you, it's pain relief. It makes you talkative. It gets rid, this is the ironic part, it gets rid of social anxiety, and you just feel a little more free. I mean, honestly, hence the name. And so you can find it at any gas station. It was 18 and up to buy, but just as of May of last year, of 2024, I believe, they made it to where it was 21 and up to where you had to buy. That's what I was ingesting. In high doses, it acts as a sedative. You get extreme anxiety. You get agitated, irritable, aggressive, to be honest. And on the flip side, you get lethargic and lazy. And so it's a very short time before you start taking, I could only speak in I statements, before I started taking it in high doses.
Now, was it something, were you chasing, I guess, that original feeling of when you had it? Was that why you think you started taking it more?
Absolutely. So, you know, it's funny. We've done a couple of podcasts together, and before the podcast, I would drink a couple of Feel Frees, not really knowing, or actually I knew. I just wanted to be more talkative, more loose, whatever. And so I noticed it starting kind of ramping up whenever, let's say I'd wake up in the morning and get 2 before the gym. Okay. 2. Holy and cow. I would, yeah. And so they had made it somewhat recently, probably when they made it 21, to where there were 2 doses per 1 bottle. Well, I was slamming 2 bottles back to back. So I would take that and go to the gym. I'd have a good workout or whatever. But then I noticed on the way home, I would want 2 more. And then at around 1, 2 p.m., I'd want 2 more. And it got up to 6 to 8 bottles a day. It was about the last 2 years that I noticed I had an issue, that I had a problem. You know what I mean? And it's, Mike, it's weird, man. It's a craving and an addiction that's kind of hard to pinpoint because it's legal.
Yeah.
And so you can tell yourself, man, I'm just not going to do this today. Let's say you're hooked on, I don't know, heroin or something.
Yeah.
And which they literally call this gas station heroin. People literally refer to this as gas station heroin. These are the professionals that refer to this.
Wow.
So you can't you can't go by your dealers all day. You may run out of money. There's 3 gas stations on the way to the gym that I could stop and get this. There's 4 gas stations. I know this for a fact. There's 4 gas stations on the way to where I was working, or I do work, to get it before I get to the office. It's that convenient. And you're just drawn, or I was just drawn in there like nothing.
Now, the thing that's crazy is something like that you can get addicted to. And there's several things that you can get addicted to. I have an extremely addictive personality.
Right.
And I think a lot of us do, and we just don't realize it, right? But we find those things that we're able to lean into.
Right.
Some people work out. Some people, drink. Some people smoke weed. Some people it's nicotine. Some, there's something.
Right.
And sometimes those addictions can be healthy. A lot of times they aren't, right? And sometimes it's trying to fill some sort of void or gap that's needed in there. But my question is, if they know that these things are happening, how on earth is this still available to people?
Profits. And they make so much money. This stuff costs anywhere between $7 to $11 a bottle. I personally was spending up to $2,500 a month on Feel Free.
Oh my God.
Doesn't make my wife happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then again, I can only speak in I statements. To stick to your question, it's pure profits. Just last year alone, they settled a class action lawsuit. Feel Free Botanicals settled a class action lawsuit for $8.25 million. Okay. You're a business owner. I was a business owner. If we had to settle a lawsuit for that amount of money, even if the insurance companies paid it, they would never insure us again. We'd be out of business. If we had to foot that bill, we'd have to sell our business and pay it. We'd never be in business again. If a company has that type of money to settle and still sell, I don't want to misquote. I think I read like in this year alone, they sold like 1.7 million bottles or something,
Holy cow.
Insane at $7 to $11 per bottle. They're making some money.
They just consider it a cost of doing business.
That's exactly right. Just like the Sackler family.
Yeah.
Just like OxyContin. It's just like the same thing on a smaller scale. And it's literally destroying lives.
And over the counter on top of that.
Legal.
And it's funny, one that, you and I had discussed, I had tried it before.
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought of it, as an energy focused drink, whatever. And I was told, only drink half.
Yeah.
So I did. I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And the only reason that I didn't continue to use it is because it came in a glass bottle. And I always throw stuff in my gym bag. And I thought to myself, this glass bottle will break. Yeah. So I probably won't utilize this much more, right? Because I'm a little harsh on my things and stuff. But that's the only thing that deterred me from that, right?
Right.
How long before you started taking it till you got to the point that you knew you had a problem?
I've been wondering that, or I've been trying to think about that. I think it was 2 years. So I think before I knew it was an actual problem, because, and I won't say how this was introduced to me, because this person is a salt of the earth person, high performing person. We'll just say he introduced it to me in a very innocent way. And that was, I think, 4 to 4.5 years ago. I started, and very innocently. They had no idea. I had no idea. Everybody at the event, nobody at the event had any idea. They don't have an idea that I'm probably in this position right now, and it has nothing to do with him. I'm accountable. Cool.
Yeah.
So I started taking that, and I noticed that day that it was like, man, this works. You know, this works. So I would slowly, I'd pick one up. I started noticing, and back then 7-Eleven sold it, and they've since stopped because it's against their culture. I actually asked a tech one time.
Wow.
But now most of the other gas stations do. But anyway, so I started picking up. I would say about 2 years ago, I noticed it was an issue. I noticed, like, to the tune of, we went to, it sounds bougie, we went to Greece last year, and they don't sell it in Greece. And I knew it was going to be a problem. We went to Cabo. I know you go there a lot. Shortly after, before that, I can't remember. Same thing. I knew it was going to be a problem, you know, and to where I was looking for it, wherever I went. And then I was like, no. So I knew, I'd say 2 years ago, that it was an issue. And the whole, you know, I'm never going to do this again. My wife confronted me about it, as far as, what are you doing? Spending, what is this?
Yeah.
And I told her at first. I told her, and I'll let you get to the other questions. But yeah, that's when I knew it was an issue, about 2 years ago. And it's just, Mike, it snuck up on me, and I was drinking 6 to 8 bottles a day of this stuff.
Now, with drinking that much, was it because it cognitively you felt better, or what was, there's normally a feeling that you get before you get hooked that makes you continue to do something, right? That you're continuing to chase. What was that feeling?
Good question also. So it made me feel great. It really did. And then it just started, it's so hard to describe, because anybody that I've talked to about this, I try to explain this exact thing. Up to about 4 bottles, you feel great. You feel happy, you know, kind of talkative. And then I just started convincing myself, I'm like, okay, if I have a meeting, I have to have, if I go to your podcast, I have to have this. If I'm going on a road trip, I have to have this. Anything. If I'm going out with friends, I have to have this. Well, then it took a very long time, and I'm not the smartest guy in the world, to realize that once you pass, I can, again, only speak for myself, it really started, I started declining. And I didn't realize it, because I've always had issues with depression and anger and stuff, which we'll get into that in a minute, because I realized something positive about that. I just thought it was those symptoms of those two issues. The feel free not only brought them on, it exasperated that tenfold. And that's when I knew, I'm like, wait a minute. So in answer to your question, I was chasing the good and then running from the bad. So if I got to the bad, I'd say, okay, maybe I'm just in that midpoint. I'll take 2 more. And then it was just like, oh, wait, no. Going to bed at like 7:30 at night, hanging or isolating in our, what we call the game room, but it's not that fancy for anyone. But hanging out in my game room, saying no to my wife all the time as far as running errands. Isolating. Stuff I never did. Canceling on you that you called me out on, which I appreciate. Stuff that I never thought I would do as a person, and I started doing.
Wow.
That's yeah.
Now, you brought up a great point. You know, you guys have always been open and honest, you know, about things. Do you think when you started that you were trying to hedge or deter or fill a gap in some of the depression and things like that. Did you look at it like that?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, no. I just thought that it was a boost, you know, because I found myself much more talkative, much more loose, I guess is the word. It's funny. I was in the bar business for 25 years, but I have a pretty significant issue with social anxiety. And I always have, you know. I had an issue. I'm going to be honest with you. I had an issue with Adderall for a while because of that. And so therein lies, everyone's going to hear that and say, well, he's an addict, so it's not the feel free. There's something to that. There's, you know, let's be honest. But no, I wasn't running from depression. I was just thinking, hey man, this will help. As a matter of fact, I think I was combating as far as just going out, you know, just being present, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you bring up, you know, that even the term addiction, and I firmly believe that most people are addicted to something, and they have no idea what it is. Again, some soda, some sugar, some's this, but most people have an addiction of sorts that they chase, some that they think's healthy, but anything in excess typically is not healthy, right? Something else lacks. So something else with addictions. You said you had, you know, issues with Adderall and things like that. What else what else have you ever had any other addictions or anything?
Hands down.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And again, it's not necessarily what I'm hearing you say is it's not the product. It's just one of those things that innately a lot of us have are just addictions.
Absolutely.
That fill some sort of void, maybe that we're not even consciously trying to fill. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I bring up those two things for one main reason is that, Mike, this, and I've researched this since getting out of rehab, and I'll say again, it's really odd to tell somebody, yeah, I went to rehab for 45 days for something that you can buy when you're getting gas or a protein bar. And because most people are like, that's weak. That you're, come on, man. And this was a pull to a substance unlike anything else. And I think it's because what you're saying, the accessibility, you know, it's predatory marketing. And again, I'm responsible for what I do. But yes, do I have an addictive personality? Absolutely. This particular substance and with the side effects and everything else, and that's actually what landed me in rehab is it just exacerbated. I became very hard to live with, man. Very hard to live with. And I'm going to have to live with that, ironically, for the rest of my life. And thank God my wife finally started to understand. But this was, I've used this on your podcast before, this term, this was a monster. It snuck up on me, man, and worse than anything else. Yeah. Honestly.
You bring up your wife.
Yes.
You know, and I know you and your brother are extremely close as well.
We are.
Talk to me about the support system that when you're going through something like this, what it is, what it means, and what your support system was like.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be brutally honest with you here because I understand it. And when I say this, I'm grateful. The past 2 months of my life have been hell. It has been the hardest situation that I've ever been through. And I'll get to the point. The first week that I had checked into this rehab, I can't describe the low. I really can't. And I'll tell you why. My wife was done. And there was no support system. We had visitation on, and I understand why. And when I say no support system, I just mean she didn't come on family visitation day. And she made it very clear she wasn't. She made it very clear that, and I hope that, and I'm just going to say that we were done. That she was fed up. We celebrate 20 years in May. Okay. So she didn't come. But she did come to therapy sessions twice over that time. It showed a big amount of support. She did answer my phone calls. I've got it. I see what she was doing. And to her credit, And I'll repeat, I've been in rehab before. Mm-hmm. And just like she told me on the phone one time, is last time I was running up and down the road 3 times a week, bringing you what you needed, answering every phone call. And she was like, I'm going to have to see what's different this time. Point taken. Mm-hmm. Okay. I get it. And I'm grateful that I had, I had hell handed to me. I had a big helping of life handed to me. I thank God for it. Brad and Wes, my 2 brothers, I don't want to get emotional. Brad, they were great. Mm-hmm. Brad flew in from Scottsdale for a 2-hour visit. First time because he didn't want me alone. Wesley came 2 or 3 times because he didn't want me alone. I called them every single night that I was there. A lot of times patching them in 3 ways. It couldn't have been better. And I've got to say, though, I'm not throwing my wife under the bus because she supported me by not supporting me. Mm-hmm. I would have never changed had she done the same thing. And my wife's tough. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't bluff, man. Mm-hmm. So when I get an email saying, I don't want you coming home, it made me realize, like, okay, all right, buddy, your mm-hmm. antics are over. Mm-hmm. So she supported me by not supporting me.
Yeah.
Is exactly what she did.
And it probably in the time didn't make a lot of sense.
No.
But it probably makes a lot more sense now.
Yes.
Right? So with that, there's always life after. And before I get into a couple questions, I'm going to get a little lighter.
Please.
What do you think and what do you visualize life going forward after rehab and something like this is going to be?
Yeah, so great. I'm hell bent. First off, on being completely sober. I realize that it just doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. Not the drink with my wife when we're out at dinner. Not okay, we're on vacation. For me personally, I can't. I've said this before. Mm-hmm. To call myself out, I've quit doing the work anytime I said I was going to do the work. Mm-hmm. A quitter. Mm-hmm. I want to be known as a quitter for alcohol and drugs, mm-hmm. but I don't want to be known as a quitter for doing the work. So just, what's the saying that when you want to prove to your wife that you're going to make changes, you make changes with your feet, not your mouth. I guess you just have to walk and do the work. So be sober. This is my passion right now and my purpose, I think, because I've been inundated with messages since I made that. I made a post about kratom, and you wouldn't believe the amount of feedback I've had. So I want to make it my purpose to do that. Frankly, I'd like to help people who are battling mental health and substance abuse. I'm not a professional, but I can look them in the face and be like, I've been in hell with you, man. And honestly, work on my relationships overall. I was a very selfish, arrogant, complacent, insecure person, which caused me to lash out a lot, in particular to my wife. So I see myself being the opposite of all of those characteristics, and starting to become the person I was, 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I see my future to be like.
That's phenomenal. Yeah. What are some of the things, even, on a daily, that you may lean into, even when you have those thoughts, of, hey, maybe I want this or maybe I want that. What are some of the things that you're doing? Because again, having an addictive personality doesn't mean that you're getting rid of that addictive personality. You typically lean into something else. What do you think that it is that you may lean into?
Yeah, man. So I've been doing a lot. I know what you're getting at. I've been doing a lot I got back to my morning routine as far as reading, meditating. I do some breath work. Like I just said, I journal. I do this quick, what I call the 100 workout, which I'll explain later, but before the gym. But in answer to the big things, I need to lean into work. I need to get purpose again. As you know, we sold our bars, you know, I think it's been 2 years ago now. And honestly, this is a big issue and a big reason I landed back in rehab. I lost my purpose. You know, bar business is all I wanted to do for 25 years, or actually since high school. And I did it for 25 years. I sold, and frankly, I haven't had a structured job, and it's caused a significant amount of insecurity. So I need to find work, actual work. I'm not necessarily chasing a paycheck. I don't want that to come across as saying I don't need the money. We all need the money, but I need to find work. And also, Mike, honestly, I want to either volunteer or help. I've been, when I say looking into, it was suggested to me, but opening sober living houses, because I do know the structure now, and I do know the struggles. But, and lastly, man, I want to be a better husband and father. I just, that's what I'm going to lean into. You know, and as far as cravings and urges, I had cravings this past weekend. I told Brad this. And all I do is think of that week. I mean, again, the first week is, it's a hell I can't describe, because in my mind, I had lost my family and everything, my life as I knew it. And I was in rehab again. And I can't describe how low I felt. So that's what gets me through urges or cravings, you know, and knowing that they're going to go like that. They are. They are. I just want to stay sober, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I know it's good. Your brother's back.
Yeah.
You know, so now you got both of them close to you. You know what I mean? You can't get away from them.
No,
at all. So
I'm surprised he's not here as much as he loves the fame. His makeup artist just comes in.
Make sure his hair's all done right and everything else.
His agent probably wouldn't let him on today.
100%. 100%.
No, it's good to see him, man.
Yeah, it's good to have him back for sure. You know, and it's always, it goes into the things that we've always talked about. You know, you've got to have that structure and those people around you that you can lean on, because that's where you get strength, right?
Absolutely.
And there's individuals, a lot of people will come in and out of your life for seasons, sometimes make a difference, but they're sometimes not, right? But they come through your life for a certain purpose, and it's knowing and understanding that.
Yeah, man.
So, you know, it's always expressed, and we've talked about it before, you know, be that 3 a.m. person, you know. So again, happy to do any and everything. Brad and I were, you know, of course, talked while you were gone as well. And that was something that I expressed with him, and I should have probably reached out to you a little bit more on that, but I didn't know what was going on, how, you know, how communication really worked or things of that nature. But I just want you to know that as well. Right. Tough question.
Bring him on.
Tough question.
I'm here for it.
What makes this time different?
I've been asked that so many times. And again, I'll go back to that week. I mean, I don't know how deep you want me to get.
Feel free, brother.
I'm going to say this, and I know my daughter will listen to this. So, and she's a smart person. I came very close to doing something drastic and permanent. And I mean, very, very close. And I checked in, I think it was 2 days later. So, because I knew it was getting serious. It got serious. And so what makes this time different? Now I know what it feels like. Just to air it out, I received an email in there from my wife saying we were done, that we were going to get a divorce. And the letter was full of love, which it makes it harder if you follow me. And again, she doesn't bluff. So what makes it different this time is I think back. I will constantly think back to that week. I'm embarrassed. I'm full of shame. I have to get out of that, or I'm going to stay in it, if you follow me. And then knowing what it's like to lose my wife, my family, my life as I know it. It's I'll never, ever, ever allow myself to get anywhere close to that, to ingest a substance that will make me get close to that. I'll never again quit doing the work, because that's what my wife needs to see. I've been going to meetings since being home and like studying and stuff. And I mean that, you know, One of the 4 agreements in the book of 4 agreements is be impeccable with your word. I spent a lot of time lying to my wife about this stuff. It's something completely out of my character. So if I tell her I'm going to do the work, I'm going to do the work. So that's a long-winded way of saying I got woken up, man.
Mm-hmm.
All of the things I just mentioned, I never thought would happen, ever. When you're in a room sleeping with well, that's about to sound bad, but 3 men sleeping in the same room, separate beds, nothing wrong with it otherwise. So just saying it. I can only talk to my wife at that time in 15-minute increments. And we're literally, there's times that I'm hanging up as she's sobbing because the next patient/client needs a phone. It's something, knowing that my wife, our daughter, is very upset with me and had to go to counseling for this, which I didn't mention to you. Never again, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes this time different. Never again. And all addicts say this. I'm sure I said this last time. And my wife asked me this. I all the promises, I'm probably 3 weeks in, I'm trying to convince her. Flat tone. Yeah, you said this last time. That's what makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I've felt the real feelings, and I'm ready to live differently, man.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. In leaving rehab, do you feel like that you were given tools that will help in the future? And what are those tools?
Absolutely. So I personally went in for like mental health / addiction. So this particular treatment center, rehab, it's I won't say where because it just extremely nice place as far as when I say extremely nice, the team, the staff, the counselors, they couldn't be better. But they offered 2 programs. One was an AA program. One's called SMART. Okay, and it's basically gives you self-management. I can't believe I can't remember the acronym.
Yeah.
I'm doing the work. I swear to God.
Yeah.
That's really funny because I actually taught a class in there, which is fun. They asked me to, which is awesome. But
It's just because you're on the spot, brother.
No.
That's it.
So that is more about tools, and there's I think there's 22 tools. Everything from how to handle urges, how to handle this is my issue, how to handle situations, basically dissect situations and take a unrealistic belief and turn it into a realistic belief, positive conversations, positive communication, emotional regulation, which I could use, things like that. So that's what it was. Those are literally called tools, and I've used them since being out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's made a difference for you, for sure.
Huge difference, man. Huge.
That's phenomenal. What do the months, the next few months look like for you? I know you said you wanted to get, try to find a purpose.
Yeah.
And however that comes, structure is what it is.
Yeah.
With that said, you touched base on something that I want to go back to.
Please.
While in treatment, do you think you got to the root, or at least touched it, or exposed the reason why you think that you tend to go back?
It's a great question also, and I'll quit saying that. So, I don't want to wave the white flag when I say this because I think this is a buzz term, but it is a big part of it. So I had a therapist in there named David who I just can't say enough nice things about this guy. He's literally amazing. He's brilliant, yet he talks like a normal person, and he delivers information and extracts information from you like no one I've ever seen. He's just an amazing person. There's a lot of childhood trauma there, and I laugh when I say that because I know it's a buzz term. There's a lot of making up to do. There's a lot of making sure I'm not abandoned. There's a lot of striking first when I think someone's going to leave me. We've had a lot of people taken care out of our lives. Brad West and I, And so I do a lot of that. So that's, yes, we definitely worked on the root cause, and I've carried that over to my therapist here. Mm-hmm. And so we've started working on, I went to her right away. And in fact, I have 2 therapists, which is funny, but we're starting to work on that here also. Is what causes this, you know?
Have you ever thought, you know, it's kind of funny, I hated school.
Yeah.
Just did not like school.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I found most rewarding was teaching. And, you know, I did a stint at, you know, ACC, Austin Community College. I taught there for, I don't know, 9 or 10 years. And again, hated school, loved teaching. Do you think that something like this could turn into a service, and or do you think that you could help others, or maybe your purpose is teaching and healing others while you heal yourself?
I hope so. And I'll tell you, like I said in there, and they ask everybody once you get to a certain point, but in one of the SMART classes, you become a mentor and you have mentees and you teach. And then they asked me to teach a class one night, and I did, and I loved it. Mike, I'm telling you that how this has affected me and what it has almost took from me. You know, it's not easy to come in. It's not easy to post something like what I posted, that post, and especially knowing my daughter will read it. Her friends' parents will read it. Her friends will read it. My wife's clients will read it. But it gets to a point that my shame and embarrassment, it doesn't matter at all, because this has to get out. I mean it. I really mean that. So yes, I would, if allowed, because one of the therapists actually recently asked me to speak at like a, I can't think, it's a group process setting. Process group. Long story short, yes. And I'm not the smartest guy, but I know what this has done to me. And I know that I wouldn't hold back relaying this information. Mike, I'll say again, it's crazy. The message is saying, hey, I'm hooked also. I can't tell my wife. Or, hey, a guy yesterday followed me, I can't say who, followed me out to where I was, very busy business, and pulled me aside, knew him, and he was like, man, I've been trying to quit for months and I can't. I'm isolating from my family. Me and my wife are on the rocks. How did you quit? So hearing that, and all I can say is, man, call me. Call me if you're white knuckling it one night. Call me. So yes, I would love to teach if given the opportunity, or just talk. Just talk, man.
Maybe that's your purpose.
Maybe it is. Maybe if Shoddy doesn't hire me for Pathwater,
exactly right.
Shoddy has submitted a resume.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But yeah, I would love to, man. And I shouldn't even joke at a time like that. It's wrecking lives, man. It's wrecking lives.
Well, and the thing is it goes back to, I had not even heard of this at all. You know, again, knew the drink, but I did not know that it was that it was doing the damage that it's doing.
Can I bring up one story real quick?
Absolutely.
I'll make this quick. So when you get out of rehab, there's a program called Intensive Outpatient Programming, IOP. I had signed up for an IOP, and this was last time. So this was a couple years ago. This before I knew I had a problem with this. So this is my first day. I'm going into the IOP. I stop at the gas station. I grab, not thinking anything, I grab a Feel Free. I drink it. I go in. They do a UA. And the teacher / part owner of this program comes out and she's like, well, you just tested positive for kratom. And I was like, what's kratom? I truly didn't. I was like, what's kratom? And then it clicked. I was like, oh, kratom. I just had a Feel Free. And just like this is the person from IOP. She goes, wait, Feel Free? I love those things, is exactly what she said. This is the instructor that just popped me for kratom. She had no idea. Like it's insane, man. It really is insane. So to your point, nobody knows, or most people don't know.
Yeah.
Most people don't know.
Are they starting to put any, there's evidently no regulations outside of you have to be 21 years old or older to purchase, but you know, even on like cigarettes, they've got a disclaimer, right? That basically says this is bad for you, but you're doing it at your own risk. Do they even have anything like that?
And not only that, so now there's a highly concentrated form of kratom called 7-OH. I'd never heard of this until checking into the rehab.
Mm-hmm.
The withdrawals, and you can Google this, and I hope anybody who's on this listens to this carefully. The withdrawals are similar, if not worse, to heroin. Every person who goes into rehab has to go through detox due to insurance. I was put into detox. They let me out in 2 days. For whatever reason, I had zero withdrawals. Maybe some emotional withdrawals because I was really emotional, but I had a lot going on and kind of twitchy. But they were shocked. That's the first thing they asked me. Were you taking 7-OH kratom? And I was like, I've never heard of that. Well, let's hope not, because there's no warning labels on that. There's no disclaimers. There's just no, this could be highly addictive. If there are now, I don't know about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had no idea. I started Googling it about a year and a half ago, like, oh, I have an issue. Because I started thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, man. I said last night, or I told Dylan, my wife, I just told her I was going to quit, but I'm leaving that conversation to buy kratom or to feel free.
Yeah.
Like, you're lying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, what, you're lying and you're not thinking twice about it. Like, you're an addict. Like, you have a problem. And I started looking into it
and researching it.
Yes.
Wow. What is the one thing, or even two things, that from this past experience over these past couple months did you take away that will sit with you for the rest of your life? Positive or negative? Let's do one of each. What's the most positive thing and what's the most negative thing?
My wife telling me that we're going to head for divorce and that she doesn't want me home. Ooh, we're better now, thank God. But that, I mean, I just can't describe, because I love my wife more than probably I've ever said on this, probably I could ever say. And that's not me just groveling. I love my wife and I like my wife. And so there's a big, sometimes that doesn't go hand in hand, and I love my life that we have built together. So oh man. And the positive is the fact I came, so 3 weeks in, I'm glad you asked me that. It hit me. I swear to God, I walked around that property a lot. I just want to be alone. On one of those walks, 3 weeks, it is a positive. I was walking and it hit me. I'm like, man, I'm thinking clearly again. Like, this is the first time I've been completely sober in, I can't remember, like years. And I realized, Mike, that day, honestly, that day I'm walking, I'm like, man, I'm not a depressed person. I'm not angry. I don't suffer from anxiety. I've been telling myself this for years. Like, you're not. I'm actually a genuinely and generally happy person. And yeah, I get sad. I get mad sometimes. I'm not that consistently. And it hit me. I'm like, man, you have been, I call this like my filter. Like, I haven't changed my filter. It's been dirty for years. Like, and that day I realized, I'm like, I think something just changed my filter. And I'll never go back. And that's the positive. And lastly, it because it goes hand in hand. A few days after that, I was walking. I'm like, man, I finally have my confidence back. Like, man, I'm a good person. You know, I've done some bad things. Canceling on you, breaking my word, things that completely out of my character, man. That and I have to handle. I have to deal with. I have to admit. But I'm a good person, man. And that's the positive. Is walking around. I'm like, no. I'm a good person. Yeah. I
think many people would agree with that, right?
I hope so, man. Well, I used to think I'm like, are you a fraud? No. And then I'm like, no, I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So even to kind of wrap this up, I want to give you the opportunity to say anything to anyone directly.
Yeah.
If there's something that you could say to anyone, no matter who it is, what would that be?
To everybody who has, look, I lean in, but to everybody who has messaged me, texted me, called me, pulled me aside in person, when you're telling me you're suicidal, when you're telling me that you are about to get a divorce, when you're asking me with tears in your eyes, how can I stop this? When you're telling me you're embarrassed by this. When you send me private messages saying, I don't want my wife/husband to know, when you're asking me, can you please link me together or to somebody who's going through this also, you can stop. It doesn't take a rehab. You may have to white knuckle it, especially with 7-OH, and that's out of my experience because I wasn't taking that. I will be here for you. I will answer my call or phone. If it's 3 a.m. and you have to escape your house because of restless leg syndrome, and you know what I'm talking about, call me. I will meet you if I can. Like, this is dangerous, man. And to parents with kids, they're going to be able to buy this. Mm-hmm. They're going to be able to buy this. And anybody else with a podcast, anybody else who may be spearheading a campaign against this, I'll do whatever I can. I'll put my money where my mouth is. And lastly, you said anybody, to my wife for just letting me back home and looking me in the face and saying, I love you and I believe you. When she didn't, I gave her every reason not to. I'm doing the work, and I'll always do the work. That's what I have to say, man. That's off the cuff, but that's all I have to say. And I can't thank you enough for this, man.
No, absolutely. And just so you know, you're loved.
I appreciate it.
I love you,
man.
brother.
I love you too, buddy.
So I appreciate you coming back in. I know that this was not an easy discussion for anybody, but what I'm hoping is someone can take something from your experience and grow. We've all got growth to do in our lives, right? And again, and that invitation's always open. Again, we've made this commitment many times, but you have to be that 3 a.m. friend to those around you that are closest to you as well, because that support system, we all need it at the end of the day.
I'm in.
Excellent. I appreciate you, brother, for showing up today. Take care.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, buddy.